Hey everybody, welcome to the show. My name is Conrad, and how are you, buddy? Today is the sixth month of the year, so it's June 23rd, 2022, the year of our Lord. And sorry, I was just making sure that we were getting live on everything. So looks like we are. If you like watching the show, you can watch it on YouTube, Twitch, all the different places, Facebook Live. If you like listening to the show, that's better because I have a little bit more control on how that sounds, and I record it separately and then post it on iTunes and Patreon. So consider subscribing via iTunes, Spotify, or Patreon. And Patreon, you can listen for free, or you can go above and beyond on patreon.com/Conradio, and you can support what we're doing here by pledging $5 a month to support the show. So we made an announcement. Shannon and I have had a crazy week. We really a crazy couple weeks with the taco truck. We've been all over the state of Oklahoma, and from south of Norman to then going to the east side of the state when we were hitting Cleveland, Oklahoma, around Keystone Lake, and we had some really good days, and we met a lot of really good people, and we learned a lot about ourselves, on that trip. So one thing that we did do also is announce that we're going to be doing a comedy special on YouTube. So on September 11th, 2022, we will be releasing a comedy special, and we're asking for help for anybody that has a podcast or some way for us to promote it, to maybe have us on or whatever. And we'd love to come on your show and promote it. And I did get a couple people that seen that initial Facebook post saying that, asking us if we would like to come on their show. And so we booked a couple shows already that we'll be interviewed on, and I think that's a good thing. I think that start spreading the word about this special, which is going to be amazing. It just goes through the history of what we've done. I mean, over the past 12 or 10 years, and I'm looking forward to putting it all that together. I'm also, I think sometimes Jewish people get a bad rap of being the only brand of religion that is thrifty. Because I think that Irish people also are very, very financially conscious. And a big chunk of my 23andMe, if I was to send in a specimen to 23andMe, I think a big chunk of me is Irish. And a big chunk of that chunk would be like, you don't like to waste your money on a bunch of bullshit. And so I sit around and I dream about setting up a studio and adding different things that cost a lot of money, but you think like, well, I got to invest in myself. But sometimes I think they're a waste of money. I think that we have the knowledge and the know-how. A lot of those things are for people that don't know what they're doing to be able to do it, and it sound great. It sound fine. But when you know what you're doing, you can get away with spending a few $100 rather than a few $1,000. And so I got to figure out the right setup. I mean, I've been riding this laptop I have here that we're recording the show on. It's a Dell laptop, so it's pretty quality. But I bought it at Walmart. It wasn't Black Friday or anything, but I got a pretty damn good deal at Walmart. I made a deal with those people, and it does what I need it to do. Is it as fast? Absolutely not. I mean, I have to put gasoline in it to make it run. So it's not as fast as a new laptop, but it does what I need it to do. And until you feel like you're valid, until you feel like it's worth it, sometimes it's hard to want to spend money on it because you feel like you're wasting it. And it's weird because you feel like you're wasting it on yourself and your dream. But that's kind of where we're at now, because we got to pull a bunch of old clips and a bunch of old audio and a bunch of old video and edit them together, and also do our own new stuff over it to release this comedy variety show that we're thinking about doing. And so I got to kind of figure out what we have, how it sounds when it's a consistent studio like the Shed, and then what needs to happen moving forward. What other equipment that we need that would make that project a little bit more doable. And so I've been looking at that too. But today, we went to Cleveland, Oklahoma yesterday and served tacos all day. We had a great day. And then we stayed the night at a campground for a couple nights. That's near Cleveland on Hayburn Lake. And that was fun. The kids come out, my wife come out one of the evenings, and we swam and did some of that lake swimming you do in the public swimming area. My son is not shut up about it. He really enjoyed. He's like, I thought it was going to be, because his experience with lakes are put a life jacket on and jump off a boat. And it's a lot different when you have a beach and you can go down there and not have a life jacket on because you're within where you can stand. We had a great time. So he's ready to go back again. So it was good. It was a good time. We didn't do that great on Monday in Drumright, and I think a lot of that has to do with Juneteenth. I think that a lot has to do with Father's Day and Juneteenth on Monday. So we didn't do great then compared to the first time we were in Drumright. But we did great yesterday in Cleveland, Oklahoma, and the trip overall was a good trip. So anyways, today we have tomorrow we have a rodeo to go to. And so today is the preparation, or a little bit of that preparation for the rodeo. And we've been to this rodeo before. It's in Meeker, Oklahoma, and we served there before when really we didn't know what we were doing. And we were just getting started, and we served it. And ultimately what happened is a bunch of cowboys and cowgirls and insurance salesmen got us drunk while we were serving them tacos. And it was a pretty wild time. And I was arm wrestling people, and all kinds of stuff was happening that night. So we kind of have an idea of what to expect tomorrow night and what to expect on Saturday night. But because of that, I told Jonah today, I was like, hey, dude, let's go. We had to go into the city because I had not ordered any of our supplies. Not that they were available. I had looked this morning if I could even get some beans shipped to me, or some potato chips or some tortilla chips shipped to me. And they're not even shipping that stuff right now. They're out. And the only reason we went into Oklahoma City was to get a couple different things. We decided we needed to get they have these big boxes of tortilla chips that I can make quite a few loaded nachos with. I needed the trays that you put them in, and I needed the wrappers, those checkered wrappers that you wrap a burrito in or a taco in, because we're running low on those. All of those things, when we got there, were out of stock. They did not have them. So it was a pointless trip. We bought some trays that weren't right, and some plates. You end up, anytime you go to Sam's, you end up spending a couple $100 regardless. And it's like, the way Shannon and I run the truck is we buy what we need for the day, because, and maybe that's wrong. I mean, we'll go through the net, but you don't have the budget to be able to have an inventory of product that just sits there not making money. So we can run through a Walmart and know that this amount of food that we bought that day will make us this much money. And when you go to Sam's, it's like, well, this is actually 4 times the amount that we need. And then you have to think, like, will it go bad, or is it something that's non-perishable or whatever? So we went in there, and God bless them. I mean, they didn't have anything, so we had to make do with a few different options. But there are some people in Sam's Club, Bud, that it would take a lot for me to it takes a lot for me to want to go to Sam's, even when I need to go there. And I'm able-bodied, and I exercise on a daily basis. Whether anybody cares or not, I do it for myself, just so I can feel like I can move. And so what happened is Jonah and I walked around Sam's. We got the stuff that we could get, um, and we paid for our stuff. We went and sat down in the food court, and I bought him a slice of pizza because it's so damn cheap there. And there was a woman that was at the relish aisle at the food court at the Sam's Club today, and she was, she was a bigger lady, but she was pretty. She was done up, she had a nice dress on, and it was very hot today, so I'm sure that helped. And so she was standing next to the relish in the mustard aisle. But the reason I noticed her in comparison to all the other monsters that walk around Sam's is she was wearing a walking boot. She had a walking boot on. And, you know, that's got to suck. That's got to be pretty uncomfortable. You got to really want to go to Sam's if one of your legs is in a walking boot. You got to want to be there. And so you look around, and I'm looking around like, what did these people buy? And what was in her cart was she had a gallon of barbecue sauce in there. She had a few take-home salads, and she had a big old thing of dog food. And so what I do is I sit there and I kind of judge, like, if I was to have a broken leg or whatever this woman had that caused her to have a walking boot, would I go to? No, I don't think I would go there. I get uncomfortable in big crowds in big cities. I hate it. I think that everybody's a robot there, but when you're actually putting robotic pieces onto your body to then go out in public, it's even more so. It's even more befuddling to me, dude. It's even more like, you really wanted to come to Sam's today, didn't you? Because you're wearing a walking boot and you're in the relish aisle and all you bought was barbecue sauce, So you got to be tough when you go into the city. You got to be tough when you're around people. And I'm just not built that way. I don't like it. Makes me uncomfortable. And it's also a waste of money, dude. Nobody needs 6,000 napkins, Nobody needs 600 forks, which we bought today. But it's like, well, we're here. We drove all the way here. And you have to, like, do this math in your head of gas and inflation and all this stupid stuff. And so I don't know if it was the right decision. And you get to the end of it, and that's what I was telling my wife when I got home. It's like, I know what tomorrow and the next day will bring as far as money, and you don't like to spend a lot because that cuts into what you got going on. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be back in the shed. I got the air conditioner on. I'm sorry if it's loud, but it's freaking hotter than Hades out there. So you got to turn it on. A little show update. Shannon and I will not be at Those Guys from Wichita tomorrow night. We've been doing that on Friday nights, and we'll be at the rodeo, so we won't be there. But I don't know if Casey and Skin Man is really who I haven't heard from. I don't know if they're going to plan on covering or if they're coming down. We invited those guys to come down here, and we'll do the show at the rodeo. So Eric had mentioned that he might do it, so we'll see what happens. So I have a few different theories for tonight's show that I wanted to go over with you before I get out of here. And I've lit my charcoal. It's on the grill, so I'm going to be kind of a short episode tonight, but I wanted to run these theories by you before I get out of here. And one of them is, I think I figured out a correlation between the uber wealthy and okay, and cats. But the deal is, and what people don't understand is, the majority of the country does not like cats. They would prefer a dog because a dog, for whatever reason, seems more lovable, seems like something that you want to have around, that notices your needs, that doesn't need much. Cats don't need anything, but they always kind of act like they're better than you, no matter what. And we've had a cat. Hellcat has been part of my life. A Russian gray cat has been part of my life since before my children were born. So for 10 years now, and it's a good cat. I'm not saying it's a bad cat, but for whatever reason, last night I was laying there talking to my wife, and the thing about the thing about cats is, and rich people is, and when I say rich people, I'm not talking about people that made $1 million or $10 million or 20 million. I'm talking about rich. I'm talking about they'll buy something for $20 million and not blink. I'm talking about rich people, dude. The thing is, they're the same kind of people that will treat you like a cat treats you. They don't need you. You mean nothing to them. You could be a yacht salesman and you're getting ready to sell them a $25 million yacht. They're going to treat you as if you haven't done anything. You can be a landscaper for, you can be any of these things for these people. They're going to treat you like, they'll look over you when they talk to you. They're going to look at your shoulder. They're going to look behind you when you talk to them. And we've all been around these people. And a lot of times these people aren't even that rich. They're millionaires. And we know that. For whatever reason, we know that. Oh, you're going to go visit so-and-so? They're rich. Like, everybody knows it. And you go to their house and they're rich, and they have the things, they drive the cars, they drive the Yukons that they've put, freaking DVD screens into the seats, and they got coolers built in the armrest. We all know that they're rich. But you go there because you were invited for a family function, or you were invited for whatever reason. And these people that are the rich people treat you differently. But even those people are not at the Elon Musk level, the billionaires who are going to be like robots. They're going to they'll float around there, dude. It's like they walk on hoverboards or whatever. And that's what a cat does. A cat treats you the same way. A cat's like, what? I know you provided this. You should provide this house for me. You should provide this cat bed for me, or this weird thing this cat tree that I climb on and scratch. You should provide that. They look at you like you owe them something. Even so, the real rich people and cats always look at people like you owe them something, even if it's just their breath. And I think it goes to this, dude. It's called the trust in your dump theory. Okay? Cats are the only animal that I'm aware of, domesticated, that are just like rich people in the sense that their diet is completely the same. It doesn't vary. And cats aren't like dogs in the way that a dog will get up in there, dude. A dog will, you'll leave a damn bag of grapes and a dog will eat a bag of grapes, including the plastic. You'll throw a shoe down that you had wiped your butt with or something, and a dog will be like, oh my God, that's a shoe covered in poop. I'm going to eat it. Dogs will do that. And so dogs, on their own digestive systems, will have variations that happen. They can never trust a dump. A dog is not consistent. Sometimes you get a good dog that's trained real well. You're almost training them like a cat or a rich person. And it's consistent. Every day you take them for a walk. It's the same place. You do it. And then you have to be a human poop receptacle. But cats, you don't do that. You don't walk a cat. You're not a weirdo. Only weirdos walk a cat. So a cat just stays in your house if you're a normal person. And you feed it the same stuff. And for the most part, it does not get into anything, dude. It does not get into anything. It eats its food, it drinks its water, and then it goes to that weird bed of grainy sand and it drops the perfect turd. Like a cat, you know how when you go to the restroom and you get done, you turn around sometimes and you look at it and you'd be like, what happened? What happened, bud? But with a cat turns around and is like, that's exactly what I expected. And then they flick a little bit of sand on it and it's fine. And I think that's what rich people do. A rich person, and I'm talking about uber wealthy, they have a dietitian, they have the same uh, kind of like types of meals. It may not be the same menu, but it's all planned out for them and their diet and all this stuff. And so when they go use the facilities, they'll turn around and be like, yeah, it's gray. Perfect. Like, and they're right. It is perfect. They're the only people that can do that. But you got to have money to have a dietitian. You got to have money to have somebody plan out how your BM schedule is going to be. And a cat goes, the only time a cat makes a mistake when it comes to the restroom is if it, for whatever reason, gets a wild hair and decides I'm going to chew up, some old discarded Captain Crunch or some discarded macaroni. And then all of a sudden at some point in the evening, you're going to hear that awful sound of a cat hacking up in the living room, or a cat that had an accident in the living room. And that's so rare because a cat normally just goes to its cave, its little place where you put the sand where it's allowed to use its facilities, its restroom facilities. And it goes in there and it just lays the perfect, and it just turns around and it looks at it. It's like, yeah, of course it did that. Of course it's perfect. And I think that's what wealthy people, I think when you're poor or when you're middle class, going to the bathroom sometimes it's like Russian roulette. It's a guessing game. You think like rich people don't have the urge that poor people have. Poor people will eat at Whataburger at 11 p.m. the night before, and in the morning, then have 3 cups of coffee because they have to go, at 6 a.m. And then they're like, oh, I got to go to the bathroom. And it is just a bad evening. It's a bad morning. It's a bad start to the day. They don't know what, and they're like, why am I doing this? They look down, what happened to me? Rich people don't have that. And so I think that we should do a study on the comparison of rich people and cats, because cats are the exact same way. Because even a poor person can own a cat, and a cat does still poop like a rich person. So I don't know. It's one of the thoughts I was thinking about last night for whatever reason. Another thing that I was kind of going over, sometimes when you do a show like this, and you've been doing it for as long as I've been doing it, people will send you things to talk about on your show. And a lot of times it's stuff you've already covered or things like that. But my wife, she sent me a link on our Facebook Messenger. So she added me as a friend on Facebook finally, and then sent me a link to a story that's happening. Because about when COVID started, people were stuck indoors. And a lot of these people that were worried about COVID, that didn't want to get out and about, were the elderly. And so what happened is they created a new sport called pickleball. And then they tried to convince you that it had been around for a long time, when we all know that nobody played like driveway ping pong. This doesn't exist. But they're like, no, pickleball, yeah, it's been around. It hasn't. It just started during COVID. And old people are drawn to it because you really don't have to move. It's a lot of leaning and swatting. Pickleball is it's basically, if you're bad at ping pong, you'll be a lot better at pickleball because it's a bigger racket and a bigger ball. And in ping pong, if you're with a decent player, you're going to be really just moving a lot. In pickleball, old people can play it because that ball is so damn heavy. filled with rocks, and so they think they're being athletic, but they're not. And it's still cute, and it's cool for them to get out there, and they're socially distanced because of the squares, and it's something that you can. It's. I think white people play it. I think it's a white old people game. I think if you told other cultures about it, they'd be like, "What the? No, I don't. I don't do that. I don't play pickleball." It's super white. So I think a lot of dudes sit around and talk about the latest episode of Yellowstone while they're playing, and they sit there and they hit this pickleball, this ball filled with rocks back and forth, and it was enough. It got these old people through the pandemic. It got these old people through a lot of stuff. But the thing is, it wasn't enough. So what happens with old white, and I want to say it's just men, but it seems that the women follow them. What happens is old white men convince old white women to be naked more. And I don't know what that is. But what my wife sent me this link on Facebook that nude pickleball is now a thing. And clearly, the only people that are playing this are old white men and old white women. There's no way that I could walk into my house and ask my wife to get naked and go play a naked game of driveway ping pong with a couple from down the street. That's not going to happen. But I think if we were 20 years older, for whatever reason, old white people like to do that stuff. So she sent me this link that nude pickleball is now becoming a thing at, adults only resorts. That's a dangerous thing, dude. If you're playing a game that's that slow, and it's outdoors, so you're in the heat and you're older, so everything's just kind of hanging out there, you're asking for trouble, dude. You're asking for trouble. Because you're going to have a guy that was a banker that didn't exercise for about 14 years. Then the pandemic hit and he started playing pickleball. And he played like for 3 weeks in a row, and he's going to start thinking like, no, I'm starting to feel like my old self again, And it's like, you're not. And then for whatever reason, somebody will call him, Dave will call him and be like, dude, we're playing pickleball today. Have you watched Yellowstone? It's like, yeah, I watched it last night. I watched Yellowstone. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then they'll talk about Yellowstone. But hey, we're going to be playing pickleball today at my house, right there in the cul-de-sac. We're moving the solo stove. We're moving the lawn chairs. We're getting ready to play a little bit of pickleball. Okay. Only problem is, Dave, you got to shed those clothes. What? Yeah, it's naked pickleball. We're doing it. It's just funner. It's freer. And old people understand it. Old people do it. And they get naked because who cares? Death is a moment away. And the sad fact is, for all of us, it doesn't matter what age we are, you're one TikTok while driving away from plowing into a pole or hitting a damn semi. But we don't live our lives like that. But when you get above 65, who gives a shit? That's what who cares? Death is a moment away. Get naked and grab a paddle. Let's play some frickin' pickleball. And they do. So there's a nudist resort out there that is got a bunch of oldies talking about, the good old days, living off of all of their, they were buying houses. Old people are the only generation, this generation of old people we have right now. Maybe it's baby boomers or whatever. They bought a house for $10,000 that's now worth $1 million. You know what I mean? They got money, and right now we're stuck in our generation or our little bubble of how the economy works. We're stuck. We don't get that option, and I call that the naked option, but we don't get there. So when we want to feel stressed, all we have to do is be like, can I afford a house that's more than 1,000 square foot? And the answer is no. Like, have you made more than $1 million? No. I haven't. Okay, then no. But back then, you could buy a freaking 2,000 square foot ranch cabin on a lake for $13,000. Buy a freaking Plymouth Barracuda, park it out front. That's $3,000. And you made $27,000 at your job. and then they gave you a pension. So when you retired after making all that money that went up every year, they give you a pension to pay you the rest of your life. Plus you got retirement. Plus you got, Social Security. And it's like, dude, we're making $5,000 a month. Our house is paid for. Our Plymouth Barracuda. How do we feel stressed? How do we feel out of our place? And the only way they can do it is to get naked. So these old people are just shedding their clothes and flashing their dings just because they got to feel some sort of stress, dude. If you're going to be talking about Yellowstone, you better be naked. And that's what they're out doing. And I hope that something turns around in this country that we can do that too. I really do. But I don't know if it will. I don't know if it will. And I was talking to Shannon the other day. I had this thought when I was mowing. And it's kind of controversial. This will be the freedom segment of the show, I guess. This will be the freedom segment of the show. And I don't know if this will happen every shed show, but there's times I get kind of irritated with what's going on. And I get kind of mad about it. And nobody's talking about it, in the right way. But I used to be kind of brainwashed in the fact that the programs that this country puts forward are for the benefit of those that need them. And I still think that maybe initially that's true. But the problem is there is a simple solution. Everything gets conflated. Everything gets mixed up. And it gets mixed up with groups that it's not for. It gets mixed up with messages that it wasn't meant to be about. So when Colin Kaepernick took a knee for African Americans and their plight, he wasn't doing it. Clearly, he has made it. He's made this money. He's doing it because there's systems in place that prevent not just African Americans, that prevent the people that are always going to be stuck in the middle forever getting over that hump. So when Colin Kaepernick did that and when the BLM movement started, it isn't about, it's about Black Lives Matter, but Black lives are now, that's middle class, baby. That's what that is. So when they sit around and say, you got this white, got this stuff, they're not talking about if you make $34,000 a year because you work at Dollar General and you rent a house that's $800 and you take your kid to for childcare because you have a child and that costs you $800. And at the end of every 2 weeks, the only thing you have together is $36. That's your take home because everything else lives. That's cost of living. You have no choice. That's who he's taking a knee for. Now, in his mind, and maybe it's true, that's where maybe the African Americans are stuck in this bubble. But a tremendous amount of Caucasian people are stuck within that bubble. So we should be standing up, if you're in that bubble, for exactly what he's doing, for what he's saying, for what he's representing, because we're in there. But for whatever reason, there's this media outlet that's trying to make it think like that's against us. It isn't for us. If you're there, if you're stuck in the middle, that's for you. What he's doing, that movement he's doing, that's for you. We should be BLMers. But here's what happened is rich people that are in the bubble, people that know how their poops are going to look when they're done, those are the people that jumped on the movement. So now all of a sudden you got a bunch of women, primarily women, that have a tremendous amount of money that feel guilty about the fact that they made this money and they know in their hearts they didn't work for it. And that's the white privilege. They know that they married somebody that got successful off of something, or they married somebody that had money, or they had money themselves, or whatever it is, and they don't have to work anymore. And they hire all this stuff, and they do all this stuff, and they don't understand the plight of somebody in the middle class, which they don't understand is not just black people. But when black people say, yo, dude, I'm taking a knee because you guys are fucked up, you're right. They need something. But then it gets shifted to where the people in the middle are now fighting against a movement that was actually for them. And I didn't used to think that way. I used to think like everyone, when you're painted up as the perpetrator, when you're painted up as the guy that's wrong about something, you know what I mean? Like, oh, what do you know? You have white privilege. You're white. They're not talking to me. Because if I told them what I'm going, fuck, that's awful. You got a lot. You've had to work your ass off, and you still aren't there. You make nothing, and you work so damn hard. That's not who I'm talking to. And who they're talking to are the people. That's who they're talking to. And so for a long time, I would always, I guess it would be on the lines of pull yourself up by the bootstraps. I mean, don't ask, if you want something to change, you go change it. If you're sitting around saying somebody should fix this, that somebody's you. Your opportunities are there. But the part that people are taking a knee on, the part that people are fighting is, even if you make those changes to go do it, there's so many damn hoops in front of you, privileged have put there to keep you out of their damn club. And that's what people are fighting against, whether they know it or not. If you want to start a business because you have a great idea and you know it can work and you know it doesn't exist, or you know that even if it does exist, you can do it better, there's 50,000 hoops that don't make a damn lick of sense that keep you from wanting to do it. And then if you were able to do those hurdles and get through all that stuff and make it to the end, what happens is when you get there, you want those to stay because it took you so much to get there. Those hurdles shouldn't be there. They're all fake. And it's all shit to keep people from getting into that club. And that club could just be having a decent damn life where you can go on vacation, to making a decent living. So if we wanted to change it, if these people that are in charge get around and say, oh, if you want to change, vote for who? For who? Which one of these people are going to change it? Because they're not changing it for you if you're in the middle like I am. They aren't. You're stuck here. And every law they put in place and every new rule they change, it's just one more hurdle that you got to do that this is going to help people. The only way it helps people is if you don't want to do nothing. If you don't want to be involved with anything, that's when it changes. Because now, at least you can have this basic life. Here's your basic thing. Don't ever ask for more. Because and even if you're willing to work for it, you're not going to be able to make it. Because do you have a child? Have you seen what childcare is? Here's all I'm asking. Here's what I wish. I wish that we same exact benefits as those who make the rules. That's all I want. And that's as simple as this. Congress, childcare, they don't have to pay for it. Healthcare, they don't have to pay for it. Car service, they don't have to pay for it. You gave poor people cars, healthcare, and childcare. If those were never part of their worries, it's over. As far as now it is. Because right now we said, oh, if you want to make it happen, you just got to go do it. Dude, have you had a kid? Do you have a child? Do you know how much it costs to have somebody watch them while you go pursue this thing that you say that even if you're willing to do it? They don't. They don't care. They went the rat way. Into politics, you're the rat. You get everything given to you, and then you sit down and dictate rules to those that you get. It is bullshit. These people making, if minimum wage is $7.50 an hour in Kansas and in Oklahoma, that's what these assholes should be making for what they're doing. You don't get a free car to go to your meeting. You don't get free childcare while you're at your meeting, because guess what? We don't. It's very simple. If you're something by being elected, we get it, dumbass, paying for it. But they don't. don't want to do that, dude, because what does finally equal the playing field? That does give people the way out. If I can get out of this place, you know how many people are stuck in a place just because they don't know that if you leave, you can go do something? Leave. And I didn't care, except for when I turn around and I watch all the shit that gets wasted. If you're going to send money without anybody's opinion, without anybody's, you're going to just send billions and billions and billions and billions and billions on the backs of the people that are in the middle that are going to make it for you. And you're going to send that to other people, other projects, other things. And these people are stuck here. You get free childcare while you get free everything. No, this has got to stop. Instead of sending those billions, let these people make it. They may make billions. They may make whatever. It doesn't matter. Let it for life. But they try to pinch you down to where you're in the bubble of them. And if you want to get out of that bubble, yeah, there's a way. You can do it. But the shitty thing is, in order to do it, you got to lose your conscience. You got to lose your soul. You got to fuck somebody over. That's how you do it. So there's a lot of people that don't want to do that. So they don't fuck anybody over. And guess what? They're stuck in the middle forever. And to me, that's what the LM thing was all about. That's what these movements are all about. Rich people get on board with them, and then it all just gets mixed up. Because now if you're like, well, no, I don't want to be part of, I'm not them. I don't have that money, but I feel like I'm part of the group because everything's the same way. It's not. That shit's got to stop. I don't know how, it's maddening to sit around and be like, well, pick a candidate. From what? From what? Gas prices are ridiculous, but it doesn't matter. Just switch it. Take gas prices to $2.50 and make lumber $5, or make houses go, the house that I bought because I just wanted to be with my family in this state, it's over. I know it's not worth what I bought for when I bought it, but gas was $2.50. So was it better? No. You get screwed regardless. And the only people that never get hurt by it are those in charge, because they know it's coming, and they're the ones that set the rules to do it. So they're making money as you lose money. They're making money as it's harder for you. Equal, even if it wasn't nothing. Nobody could ever invest anything ever again, make money ever again, as far as because that's what they all do. Well, making more. My money's barely making me money, dickhead. My money's barely making a living. Do I have extra money to give to you, or to give to some company, or to give to some stock market, or to give to? No. Majority of people don't, because we're stuck here. But yet you get everything. And you got it by saying you're going to do something for us. We said, okay, that person believes. That person's that person. That person's going to do it. They don't do anything. They get up there and get rich. That's all they do. They make you feel guilty about it. Like it's fair. Like I should, maybe this guy's not the right, but this one is. No, they're not. And we're stuck. Only way to get unstuck. You gotta be willing to, if you don't want to do that, you gotta be willing to, dude, you don't. I've done more than you'll ever do. Even at this young age. That shit pisses me off. If you would give people, give. And the reason I say that is, all I do is turn on the news every day and see what we're giving everybody. We're going to give another $40 billion to this Ukraine, another $30 billion to this. We're going to give another $20 billion. That's all our money, supposedly. It comes from our work, comes from our stuff, comes from all this. That's our taxes, whatever. Okay. You all that are making the decision to give that money away don't have to pay for childcare, for cars. Don't have to pay for taxes. Don't have to pay. You don't have to do anything. Mention it. Oh, yeah, cars are, just buy an electric car. Really? With what? With what? We're stuck. If you gave the government have its own car company that had a car that is reliable and gets good gas mileage and is affordable for everyone. The government could have childcare that is reliable. They don't want to have people have childcare, free healthcare, free car. Because if you give people that, then people will go out and do something with it. Then people will break through that barrier. Then people will. But if you keep that hurdle in place, they'll get out of wherever they're at. And I hate it. I hate saying it because I know that it's true. You give somebody something that's for free, they don't appreciate it. They don't. I get it. I understand that. But you're using it against people because you guys are all taking this shit. You're taking it. You're taking your huge salaries. You're taking it for nothing. You're taking your information and making more money with those salaries. Shit makes me mad. I truly believe that those that were in the BLM, whatever the movement is, recently it's the BLM, that's who they're standing for. It's not against white people. It's not. They're against the people who make rules that only benefit the people that make rules. And the irony is, jump on that bandwagon are those people. So they're holding up a sign, or they're doing stuff at the White House. They're changing whatever they're doing with lights and laser shows to make sure he knows that Nike's got its freaking headquarters lit up. Support it. Do you, dude? Because you got a bunch of slaves making your fucking shoes that you guys are writing up for hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's who people were taking a knee for. The fact that them down with your with your shit. It's all bullshit, dude. It's all, and we all know it. And the only way, and that's what's so sad. And I've been in positions, and I think that a lot of people get in that position where you got a choice to make, and you can go over to make it through that hurdle, or you can be honest and you'll never make it through that hurdle. You know, and that's where we're at. So maybe that's not funny, you know, but I think it's true. So that's the freedom segment of the show. It's so out that the movements of things are even misconstrued. Because BLM should have all of us on board. It should. But it can't. Because once I have to see somebody that I know what they make, I know what their value is, I know what their job is and what they bring in and where they live. I know all that stuff, and I see them holding the sign. It's like, dude, you don't represent anything that they stand for. And I don't want to be looked at like you. So now I don't get to be part of the movement for me. It's shitty, because here's the thing. People should know if I start something, if I did something, you know what I mean? If I start a business and I get an employee that when I first start, and then that employee has all these ideas and all this stuff, and they're there every day when I'm there, they're there when I'm not there. And it was my initial idea. To be able to turn and look at that person and be like, well, yeah, but it was my idea. Your idea without that person. Yet, for whatever reason, it's normalized that, well, of course, one person should be a millionaire and the other person should make $7.50 an hour. And that you can work. So if you go work for somebody, if you go work for a normal job, if you go buy into somebody else's dream and support it and pour your heart and soul into it, here's what you get out of it. Even if you did more to make sure that dream happened than the person that had the dream in the first place. And that person will be holding up a BLM sign, and you'll be figuring out, how can I buy a car for under $10,000 that gets good gas mileage that has less than 100,000 miles on it? and you won't be able to find one. Unless you can work on you, do you have the time, or are you building this other asshole's dream? And you'd say, well, fuck, I could do it myself. I can go make that dream myself because I'm the one that did the work. But you can't, because guess what? That guy put a hurdle in front of what you were doing. It wasn't there before he got there. He put it there to keep other people. Really wants to help people. Yeah, lower gas, all the bullshit that they say. Stop giving our fucking money away. And also, you don't get paid more than we get paid. So if you think it's fair that $7.50 an hour, that's what you get. You bill it, and then you tax it, and so you walk home with $17,000 a year. You fucking assholes. And on top of it, pay for childcare, pay for health care, pay for your house. Good luck. Guess what? That's what we deal with every damn day. In the middle. So that's the rant. I can go on and on. I don't want to, but I do. But I should go make sure that the coals are burning. Pork steak tonight. It's on sale, so we were able to afford it. But I can't convince you guys or anybody anybody to do it. All I know is I've dealt with small towns at this point. I've dealt with small stuff. And as backwards and as stupid is what the word I would use. Stupid or incompetent. These people are incompetent. They don't understand what they're doing, and they're elected officials in small towns. And I have to imagine competency continues to grow each level they go up. It doesn't mean that, well, mayors are stupid of small towns, but, congressmen are smart. No. Stupid is as stupid does, and they continue to be stupider. And we have to sit here and pick one of the stupidest people in the world. I don't care, Democrat, Republican. Don't bring that crap to me. It's stupid. And until they bring us somebody that's like, dog, I got your back. Don't bring me that stuff. I've been in all these towns, and I've met all these people, and they're all stupid. So I hope we fix it. I hope we can, And it's so damn simple. It's so damn simple. You take away these worries that everybody has. How am I going to get to work tomorrow? How am I going to feed my kids? If my kids get sick, how am I going to pay for it? I don't have to worry about any of that shit. Yet they make the rules to why you have to. That's messed up. So hopefully we figure it out. A shed show tomorrow, probably. I'm going to do one in the morning, and I don't know what I'll talk about. I didn't get to a lot of stuff on here. That's a lot different stuff. I got a thought about getting older, but that's not about nude pickleball. But I'll be here tomorrow to talk about the shed show, to talk about the rodeo, all that stuff, and then we'll have a live show at the rodeo tomorrow night, and then we'll get back after it. And thank you to the person that reached out to me to invite us on their show. We'll be there in July, and I'll announce more details and how to listen to that show as we get closer to that date. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'm here on YouTube when I do a shed show. I'm here on Facebook and Twitch. I do it live on Podbean when I do this in the shed. So if you just like audio and you don't want to look at me, that's great. And that's there at Podbean. So this is available for download on iTunes and Spotify for free. And then I have a Patreon if you want to support all our bonus shows, and you get on the shows. So with that being said, have an okay day and your meat loaf.